Then we had a wonderful Led Zeppelin, and from Led Zeppelin 2, and A Whole Lot of Love. I suppose we should start really your career with Acoustic Alchemy by talking about how you first met Nick, because Nick didn't actually have a band called Acoustic Alchemy. He and a friend of his put together an album called Acoustic Alchemy, and when that friend left and went on to learn flamenco in Spain, Nick was looking for a guitarist to replace him, if you like, and he met you. How did that happen?
Well, I was let me think. I'd left college, and I was playing I had this band called the Holloway All Stars. Holloway being
Should be the Camden Alls. No.
Camden All Stars, yeah. And we had lots of gigs. We were gigging a lot. And this is in the sort of early 80s. And we were playing all over London. We had gigs around the country. And I was also playing in wine bars, in festival hall foyer events. And that's where it actually started, because I got a phone call asking if I'd cover this from a guitarist, if I'd cover this foyer event. In other words, what that was that before the play or item started, there would be a duo, either two guitars or a guitarist and a bass or piano, playing for an hour or so in the foyer before they went in. Then you'd stop, and it was quite a good gig actually. It was quite well paid. So I got this call: can I do a det for this guitarist who can't do it? So I went along, and it turned out to be with this bass player Jeff Klein, who was actually playing with Nick and Simon at the time. So never met Jeff before. Sat down. We were playing standards, Look of Love, all that sort of stuff. Girl from Ipanema. And anyway, we got on quite well. And he said, I know there's this guy who's looking for a nylon string guitarist. His name is Nick Webb, because his partner is not doing it anymore. Are you interested? So I said, yeah. I mean, I was interested in anything then, just as long as I could work. And so Jeff, obviously, when he saw Nick, in the next few weeks or so, told Nick about me, and then I got a call from this guy, Nick Webb. Would I be interested? Or no, actually, the first thing he said was, I've got this gig. And I said, oh yeah. And he said, it's on Christmas Day. And I said, no, sorry, I've got a family. I'm not. No, I won't be working on Christmas Day. He said, oh, you come on, it'd be good to do. But anyway, I declined. But we met up after Christmas, and because he lived in the West End, so it didn't take me very long, because I'm in North London. It didn't take me very long, and he played me some of the stuff that they've been doing. To be honest, I thought it was a bit smooth for me. It wasn't the sort of music I'd been doing. It was but well honed and well written is what I thought. And I quite liked him, Nick. He was how can I say? He was very, very sure of himself, and and this kind of convinced me that he actually sort of vaguely knew what he was doing. And so I said, yeah, I'd be very interested. I didn't realise how far it was going to go, and at the time when I said I was interested, I again saw it as a kind of just a way of getting some more work. But we got on very well, and we'd meet up regularly. We were doing these kind of small little gigs and stuff, and we'd get together regularly and started writing together. Because he had a vision, Nick. I mean, he thought that he knew that writing was where it was at. And to be honest, I didn't really. I mean, although I'd been doing a lot of writing, I wasn't aware of this thing called PRS and royalties, and the fact that you get money for stuff being played on the radio, and sounding like a good number to me. So
I know that after you'd played together for a while, that there was an opportunity came about, I think after doing some TV work, to go into a studio in Manchester, I think it was, or Liverpool, Manchester actually, and record some demos. And somehow you involved other people, particularly people who were living in Germany, which is quite a strange thing.
Yeah, no, actually it wasn't in Manchester. That was
Right.
a previous recording he'd done.
Okay.
This was actually in London,
Oh, right.
in a place called Hot Nights.
Mm.
And that's where we made some demos.
Right.
And it was with someone who Nick went to college with called John Parsons. And Nick said he was really good, great guitarist, and John is a great guitarist. He's one of those guitarists who can play anything, and he's super fast, and he thinks very quickly. And Nick said, "Well, get him along to Hot Nights, and he can help, produce this these demos."
And what did you do with the demos?
We had about Nick had a few from a previous session. He had something called Casino, Sarah Victoria, and I think it was Battle for K. And then we put on Ricochet, Mr. Chow, Colonel and the
Mr.
Ashes.
Chow was, I think, the first thing you ever wrote together.
That was the first thing we wrote together, yeah.
And how did that come about, the Mr. Chow? I mean, did you have the tune, or did you...
No, I had this. I had the jazz chords because I was sort of going through jazz, and I also like reggae. So I just one day thought it'd be great to try a reggae beat to these jazz chords, and I thought it was really, really good. When I took it to Nick, he put the
melody on top.
Melody on, yeah.
And that became eventually, I guess, the kind of signature tune of Acoustic Alchemy, particularly in the early days in America, and people, it was all over the radio.
It just kind of, I suppose, because it was a bit quirky.
Well, Chinese reggae number.
Yeah, and they liked it. It was a great tune, and
I mean, people,
interesting concept.
People kind of know this story, but I guess it's better to explain it in your own words. The way you got the deal was to fly on the brand new Virgin Airlines as the talent, if you like.
Yeah.
So how did that all work
Gosh,
out?
well, those were the days, when you could get up, walk around on an airplane playing guitar. I don't think you'd be allowed to do that now. And that's literally what happened. We were playing. There were three of us. There were Nick, myself, and the girl bass player from my other band called Holloway All Stars. Her name's Julia, playing a Mexican bass. I mean, she was actually a double bass player, but obviously you can't go lugging the double bass up and down the aisles. And yeah, we played on those flights before, to the passengers before the film started, in the days when they only had one screen, and they loved it. It was a kind of little quirky thing, an extra little.
But it did eventually allow you to get a deal in America.
Yeah, because we took our those demos I was telling you about, the ones we made in London and the ones that Nick already had. We took them to America because on playing on the plane, the deal was that we got this free flight over to America. So rather than just do that for the hell of it and come back, we thought we'd shop around our demos.
And you were actually picked up by quite a famous guy, a guy called Tony Brown, who worked in Nashville for MCA and was famous for being the keyboard player for Elvis Presley and various other things. And he happened to have a new eclectic label called the Master Series, and you were one of the 5 or 6 people on that.
Yeah, I mean, how strange that it should come out of Nashville. I mean, the last place in the world you would think of having new age, as it was called then, new age music. But you had that. I guess they wanted to kind of diversify, and so that Nashville was not only associated.
Can
with
you remember
music.
who else was on that label?
Yeah, well, Larry Carlton was the other big name. Edgar Meyer, the amazing picking guitarist, whose name escapes me, sorry, but a lot of fantastic musicians who were artists in their own right, but wanted to obviously do something else, to express themselves, to do their own music. And as I say, it was called New Age music, and the MCA had they wanted to release 6 albums because they were on vinyl. And they were looking for one more act. They had 5 of them already. They said one slot and we just happened to turn up with that demo tape in it, and they liked it. So there you go.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Time for another track of one of your favourites, and this one's by John Coltrane. Why?
Well, when I was when I was at college, and I suppose after I'd left school, I started to get interested in jazz, and I spent a very intense time listening to jazz music. Every night I would sit down in front of my hi-fi and for hours and hours and hours listening to jazz. It really attracted me. It was a different sort of music to the rock, prog rock, and all that I'd been listening to, and I got very intensely involved, and that's why also in some of the bands I played in were kind of jazz bands. And this track, John Coltrane, is just the most amazing saxophonist, and I particularly like this track because he did a lot of stuff that was quite kind of out there, but this in particular is a beautifully written tune, and the solo he takes on it is just, for me, is out of this world. Absolute pure control and just brilliant.
We should hear it. This is John Coltrane from Blue Train and Moment's Notice.